Sorry, I needed to get something that I left in the snow. Hello everyone, it's 2026, that's crazy. And I am here in the beautiful nature in the deep snow to talk about books. And because it's 2026, it's a new year, and I wanted to take a moment to kind of reintroduce my channel. I feel like I've had a bit of a rebranding maybe, and I don't know, I just want to give kind of what you can expect from me this year and set up some goals for the channel, some goals for me as a reader. I can also share some of the things that I accomplished last year at the very end. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a great one. So well, first of all, thank you for being here. Thanks for everyone who has joined my channel and continues to watch my videos. It's so crazy to me that people want to hear what I have to say. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. And the first thing that I want to do in this first video of the year is kind of set up expectations for what you can find in my channel, especially if you are a new viewer of the channel. So I can tell you a bit about me. Well, I am JP and I started this YouTube channel about a bit more than a year ago, which is kind of crazy. I primarily read, I would say, science fiction and fantasy. That is always been like my 50 to 60% of everything that I've read. I think last year it was about 40%, so I think I am diversifying a bit my genres, and that's why maybe it went down, but obviously it changes a bit during the years. So that is, first of all, my big kind of category. The second one is fiction that is about and by and for and with queer characters. I think this is very important to me. I love representation in the literature that I consume, and a lot of that is through contemporary and literary fiction. So I would say those two genres are about another 40% of my reading, and that I think has increased a lot in the last couple of years. So definitely a big increase there, and I think it's important for me to read stories about queer people. And I think, if I remember correctly, last year maybe about 60% of what I read contains like queer characters. So that is always fun. So that is the second kind of circle in this Venn diagram of my tastes. And then the third one is probably fiction from Latin America or Latin American authors. And yeah, I mean, I come from Mexico, and to me it's really important to be, you know, reading about my country and cultures that are similar to my country. There are amazing authors from Latin America that are writing today, and so I want to shout out their names and promote them and make people learn about them. I think this one is kind of tricky because not all of them are translated, so a bit of what I read is, or a good chunk of what I read is in Spanish, but I still like to talk about it in this channel because some of them have like some books that are translated, even if the one that I am talking about is not translated. And then if I talk about them and they become like more popular, or people are picking up their books, it's more likely that they get translated later. So maybe people like, I don't know, in the future can go back to these videos talking about their work and hear about their story. So yeah, I think to me those three are kind of the Venn diagram of what I read, which is kind of tricky because, you know, epic fantasy, queer fiction, and then Latin American authors. It's not like, it doesn't have a ton of overlap. So you will definitely find in this channel a lot of variety in what I read, but I think that is just amazing. Another thing that I want to start doing this year with my videos is that halfway through the video, I will basically come up with an emoji, and you know, just if you just want to let me know that you're around and watching, even if you don't have anything to comment, you can just put that emoji and then I'll know that you're here. And that is kind of cute, and that is completely 100% stolen from Angela from Literature Science Alliance. She does this, and she's great. I'll link her channel below. So yeah, if you're watching this right now and you just want to let me know that you're here, I think something that would be very fitting is snow. I think there's like a snowflake or something, ice, anything kind of ice wintry related. You can just put that in the comments and that will make me happy. I have two, well, it's a bit hard to count with these gloves, but I have two big challenges for me this 2026. One is a channel goal, and the other one is a reading goal. And the channel goal is basically that I want to be very, very on top of my video schedule. Basically, I want to put up videos every other Wednesday. That is the cadence that I want to commit to. That is the cadence that, as a student and with everything that's going on in my life, I can like put into my schedule without it being crazy. And I know that I can deliver on this, or I hope. I think weekly videos would be a bit too much because I also love reading. And I mean, this channel is to talk about the books that I read, but I am first a reader and second a YouTuber or booktuber. So I feel like if I try to put up videos every week, that will reduce a lot of the time that I have for reading, and even might pressure me to like read to a certain speed or something. And I don't want to be stressed about this. It's about fun. So that is the first goal, having videos every other Wednesday. The second big challenge that I have for 2026 is for me as a reader, and it has to do with reading my physical TBR. It's not super unlikely that we move to another place either this year, but most likely next year. And I have a lot of books that I've been collecting, or that I collected in 2025, because in Stockholm there is such a big, like, secondhand market or like industry, I guess, and you can find so many books that are used and at really good prices because people are just selling them off online. There is this sci-fi like antique shop or antique library, like they only bookstore, sorry, they only sell mostly sci-fi books that are quite old, secondhand, everything. So basically in the last year I collected way more books, I think, that I'm used to. And I am quite good at reading things from my shelves, but I want to make this a challenge, especially before we move, to read as much as I can from my library. And what that means is that I am going to be basically only reading from my physical TBR, or like the books that I have at home. I have a rule that I will allow myself to read five books that are not, that I don't already own. I think based on what I read last year, and if I kind of think about all of the book clubs and things, the magic number that I came to is 30. So I will try to read 30 books from my physical shelves. And I was checking before coming here, and more or less it's quite easy because I have about 50% of my physical TBR is read. So this year is the year where I will focus on just going through that 50%. I usually am at about 50% with books read in my physical TBR. This is not a number that I think is that important to me, but I think this year I just want to make sure that I read all of those great books that I already have. And so, yeah, it's going to be the year where I only read that. And a way to make this a bit fun, because obviously I know all the books that I have, and I think it's also cool to have some sort of like game or like spontaneity to the TBR. I'm not really a mood reader, I don't think, or mostly I am not. So I can definitely like pick up books kind of whenever. And so, inspired by Emily Fox, I think is her name. She's great. I will link her channel below. But she has this like read it or unhaul it challenge, I think, where she pulls papers from a jar, and she basically needs to read that, and it's kind of a way to randomize a bit your physical TBR. And yeah, so I have this thing with me with like I think I have about 50 or 60 unread books in my TBR, which I know might sound like a lot, and it is. So I want to here right now select randomly what will be my next read from my shelves. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna put you down one sec. The book that I pulled randomly is Rayuela by what's his name? Argentinian author. Oof, I am blanking. Yeah, Julio Cortázar. His name is Julio Cortázar. Whoa, this is gonna be fun. Rayuela is a very challenging book, I think, to read. I had actually already started it a long, long time ago, years ago, and I thought it was quite hard to keep track of all of the cultural references because the book is written by a guy that I think he was born in Argentina but moved to Paris and lived and wrote a lot of time. I think most of his life or his writing life he spent in Paris. So he was part of these kind of elite of writers that I think at the time, I don't know what time it is, but I feel like I learned about this in school. But so it was this kind of elite of probably just men writing fiction, a lot of them actually from Latin America, but also from other countries. And so I think Rayuela, I don't know if it takes place in Paris, but I remember that the book, like every other sentence, is full of like references to like culture or literature or paintings, and I was like, I thought that was quite hard. Um, but what's really interesting about this book is that it's written uh, it, like it has a bunch of chapters, and at the very back of the book there is an alternative order of reading the book. So instead of reading like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, you can read the chapters in the suggested or like in the alternate order, which is, I don't know, like chapter 83, and then you go back to chapter 2 and then chapter 13, and it's kind of jumping back and forth. And I don't know how good this reads, but I think just the exercise of writing a book that can be told in two ways, one like just chronological order and the other way kind of jumping back and forth, is really exciting. So yeah, I am up for that challenge. So that is going to be my next read, I guess. A lot of Latin America literature actually in the start of this year. So that's exciting. Yeah, I think that's it for me in terms of goals for me as a reader and for this channel. And yeah, welcome to this journey. Welcome to this year. I hope that you are doing well. I hope you have a very pretty, very wonderful year. Let me know in the comments below if you have any goals for this year, what you accomplished last year, if you want to share like your favorites or worst books of last year, and have a great day. Bye bye.